Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life, as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Today we'll be beginning with new chapter, that is chapter 5. The Yoga of Action and Knowledge. So we will be today learning about Sankhya Yoga and the Yoga of disinterested action as described by Lord Shri Krishna. So chapter 5 verse 1. Arjuna said, Krishna, you extol Sankhya Yoga, the Yoga of knowledge, and then the Yoga of action. Pray, tell me which of the two is decidedly conducive to my good. Now what is happening? Arjuna is actually confused. You know why? He said, you've taught me Sankhya Yoga and then you have taught me Karma Yoga. Of these two, which one is conducive to my good? What is good for me? Which is the path should I follow is what Arjuna is asking Shri Krishna. So that's why Arjuna is saying, Arjuna said, Krishna, you extolled Sankhya Yoga, the Yoga of knowledge, and then the Yoga of action. Pray. He's seeking with reverence. Tell me which of the two is decidedly conducive to my good. So he's telling which of the two should I follow, which is good for me, which is conducive to my good. That is what Arjuna is asking. I'm sure we're all confused, right? Because so much of information, so much of knowledge, and now we are confused. We feel we don't know. We don't know what to actually do. That's the state we get into because our mind doesn't allow us to understand the truth. It is always going to cover you with ignorance by, trying to feed your mind. By trying to feed you, your mind is going to feed you with negative thoughts, doubts, all those things it's going to feed you so that you don't evolve. You don't see the truth. The light of knowledge is not shown to you because of your ignorance. The ignorance comes from the doubts. The mind causes doubts. It creates doubts within us. So it wants us to continually to be ignorant beings. So let us see what Lord Shri Krishna has to respond to Arjuna. Shri Bhagavan said, the yoga of knowledge and the yoga of action both lead to supreme bliss. Absolutely. Of the two, however, the yoga of action, being easier of practice, is superior to the yoga of knowledge. This is actually very powerful. What is the Lord saying? Let me read once again. Shri Bhagavan said, the yoga of knowledge and the yoga of action both lead to supreme bliss. What is Arjuna actually missing here? See, without a knowledge, how do you know how to perform the right action? We learned what is action, what is inaction, and what is abstinence from action. We learned all of this in the Karma Yoga. Why should we perform selfless action? Isn't that called knowledge? What does yoga of knowledge mean? Union with the divine through knowledge. And what is yoga of action? Yoga of action mean union with the divine Lord through your work. Whatever the duties that you're supposed to perform, you're attaining oneness. You're attaining the union with Him through your action. That's called Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga. What does it mean? Karma, you're performing the karmas, that is action, and you're attaining yoga. Yoga is union with the divine Lord. It is not this, the yoga in the physical sense where you're doing exercise, you're doing asanas. I know you're doing some kind of a bodily, exercises, different kinds of asanas which is being taught to you. That is not yoga. That is just a fitness aspect. The real meaning of yoga is the yoga means union with the divine, to being in oneness with the divine Lord. That is what yoga means. So he's saying of the two paths, the yoga of knowledge and yoga of action, both lead to what does it lead to? Supreme bliss. See, the Lord is teaching how do you live in the material world while you perform all the actions, whatever the knowledge you're getting, through the knowledge, through the action, you attain the supreme bliss alone. So he's not telling you to become a sannyasi, he's not telling you to become a mendicant, he's not telling you to become a sage or a saint. He's saying you can achieve all of that. The supreme bliss is achieved through this two paths. One, you can purely be the one who just goes into the yoga of knowledge, or you can use that knowledge and then perform your action. That is yoga of action, and through this both the path you attain what? Supreme bliss. But without knowledge, how do you know how to perform the yoga of action? So knowledge is the most important aspect. Without knowledge, you can't perform action. But Arjuna is still trying to say, which is the better path for me? So here the Lord is answering to him. He's saying of the two, however, the yoga of action being easier to practice. What is he saying? The yoga of action is easier to practice. Because in Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge, you're deciphering God in your mind. There is mental gymnastic going on. And not everybody is so super intelligent. Forget about today, super intelligent, they are not even intelligent. They have become such dull brain. They are so dull headed. Why? Because today we have become very tamasic in nature. Our intellect is not sharp. Why? Because we are not training our intellect to be sharp. We don't study. We don't do things that is going to enable us to become smart, intelligent, all that. It doesn't allow us to. So we live as a very below average human being. You know, the level of knowledge we have is very, very mediocre. Sometimes it's below mediocre also. We don't know what is happening in our world. We don't have knowledge about anything. Knowledge is the most important aspect of growing in this world. And today that itself is missing. And if you see, I give a lot of talks in many conferences. And when I do my session, I go in depth to prepare. This is something my Guruji has taught. Why it is so important to give an understanding of a subject which is very different. So I always take a different angle to every talk that I give. And I go and research, I come up with the case studies, I present the case studies pertaining to the topic which is relevant from a futuristic perspective. We are not talking about what has happened in the past, and we are not talking something which is superficial. We are talking about something which is earth-shattering, which is going to transform the way we live, work and communicate in our world. All that is going to transform. So you have to put in that effort. So what is important? The right knowledge. And knowledge of what? Knowledge about any subject. You have to go deeper in it. So it's not about learning at a surface level. People just go to work because it's like a bread and butter. They don't give value to what they earn, It's not, for them work is not worship. It is like a designation. It's a name, fame, position. That's how they look at it. So how do you look at Karma Yoga is what the Lord Shri Krishna has imparted to Arjuna. Why should you perform your duties? And how do you perform? How do you perform your action? Not being attached. You don't take the ownership to your act, the sense of doership. You don't say, I am doing. You don't take ownership to that action. You're not attached to the fruits of that action. The end result is not something that you're attached to. But in the material world, that is not the case. So here, the Lord is telling you, how do we practice? He's saying the easier path. See, even we might have knowledge, but going in deeper understanding about the knowledge, we don't have. Why? Our mind is not able to hold on to that level of contemplation or meditation. It doesn't have. Like yesterday, somebody I was meeting, and that person was telling, today, anybody cannot take more than 20 minutes of a talk. They can only stay on till the 20 minutes, and after that they will turn off the camera and they'll go to sleep. But this is the world we have entered into. Why? Because we are in Kali Yuga. Tamas rules our world. It's all about lethargy, inertia, you name it, with laziness, indiscipline, and we don't want to work also. We want everything on a platter. And today, even if you have to turn on a fan or a light, everything is tip of your finger. You just need to take a remote, or you just go to your app and you turn on. It's a smart home, That's what we have entered into. And today food is available at your, again, a touch of your finger. You don't have to cook. You just can order Swiggy and Zomato. And I don't know in other countries what are the different, in Singapore it is about Grab Eats, Uber Eats, you name it. So everybody is today going to that world, which is going towards the path which is making you very lazy, making you, become very indisciplined. So what is it important? It is important that you have this knowledge first, and then through knowledge, you apply that knowledge in performing that action. And what kind of action? Selfless action. He's saying, See, in the material world, we cannot just sit and not do anything. So he's saying the path of action is easier to practice compared to the path of knowledge. That is because every body, even for the basics, to maintain the body, you still have to do some work. So work is a must. As long as the body exists, the work is a must. You cannot say that, no, I will not work. It's very difficult. It's next to impossible. So you have to work, come what may. Okay. So he's telling here of the two paths, however, the yoga of action being easier to practice. Why is he proposing that? Because it is being easier to practice is superior to the yoga of knowledge. He's saying it is superior to the yoga of knowledge. But Lord Shri Krishna has given a very profound understanding in the last chapter that even he, when he manifests on this planet Earth, even he also has to work. Work is a must. Though he has nothing to achieve, there is nothing to be attained by him. He has attained everything. He is the highest, he is the supreme goal himself. And yet, why should he come and work? He says he has to do it because he set standards, because men follow me in every way. Men follow me in every way means what? In every aspect of life. We all follow the divine Lord. So he sets a standard, so he sets an example for us. So here he's telling the yoga of action being easier to practice. What is it? Easier. Because today we have all become very lazy. So at least through action, little bit we will be able to follow that path. That is all he cares about. We go towards the path of dharma and righteousness. Is superior to the yoga of knowledge. The karma yogi who neither hates nor desires should ever be considered as an ever renunciant. For Arjuna, he who is free from the pairs of opposites is easily liberated from bondage. Oh my God. He's saying a very, very profound lesson. Huh? Let us understand what is the Lord saying. He's saying the karma yogi who neither hates nor desires. The karma yogi who neither hates nor desires. Oh God. What is a big challenge when you perform an action? Any work that you do, we say, oh, I love my job. I love doing this. I love doing that. You can't hate nor desire, or you say, oh, I don't like it. I hate my job. You go ask any human being on this planet Earth, do you love what you do? They say, God, I hate my job. I hate my bosses. I don't like it. I don't know why I am here. We all go through this at some point in our career, some point in time or other in our career, in our entire lifetime. It's not just with work related. It could be anything else as well. So he's saying the karma yogi who neither hates. So you can't have hatred. So what is that we are getting to? Equanimity of mind. Having overcome the pairs of opposites and most important desires, nor desires should ever be considered as an ever renunciant. What does that mean? One who doesn't hate, he didn't say like here, but he said hate, and doesn't desire should ever be considered as an ever renunciant. So who is this yogi? The one who performs karma yogi, he's a renunciant. When does he become a renunciant? When he doesn't hate anything, neither does he desire. But what is a human being is driven of? The pairs of opposites. Either you like, you dislike, and then you have your desires. And these desires are the root cause of your miseries. And then what happens? If there is any unfulfilled desire, then you end up in bigger trouble. What is the bigger trouble? Oh my God. The bigger trouble is that you think you're missing something. God has been unkind to you. God has given everybody else, but He's not given you. But what we fail to understand is that, whatever that we have got as this body or are supposed to get is based on our karma alone. See, whatever you have to get will anyways come to you. Nothing less, nothing more. But we all think we need too much. We deserve too much. But who has given you that understanding? It is you who has created that understanding. You think you deserve. Yeah, we all think. I also thought a lot of things in my life. That's exactly yesterday my Guruji was talking. See, yeah, we aspire to become Bill Gates, but you think you can become Bill Gates? No, Bill Gates is Bill Gates. He's come with that destiny. That is his karma. So is Bill Gates. So why should you think you will become a Bill Gates? We only have to set a goal. We need an idol, or we need an ideal in our life so that we follow them. You need a role model, somebody who you can look up to and say, look, I need to reach, or I need to become like them or better than them. It's always good to become better than them. You don't have to become them. You always have to become the best version of yourself. But you need one role model to whom you think some of the qualities you want to imbibe. Like today for me, my Krishna Guruji is my role model. He's my ideal. He's my ultimate goal in life. I want to live his way of life. That is Lord Shri Krishna's way of life, because he's Lord Shri Krishna himself. And today, watching him, observing him, having manifested as a human being, how does he conduct himself, how does he behave himself, and how he talks to people is quite interesting. Many a time he tries to talk to different people, trying to, just to boost their ego. Actually, he's not meaning some of those things, but he actually says he's the greatest, master strategist. He knows how to lead, and he's, the art of war is only he knows how to actually, live that art of war. And art of war is an important lesson, which is a lesson for us in our life. So my Guruji does all of this in a very beautiful manner, and his method of teaching is very unique. So he will teach people in different ways. Into some, he will say certain things in front of everybody to, break your ego. To others, he might say it in private. But that doesn't mean that, my Guruji is not liking you or he's biased. It doesn't mean. There is a reason why the master does what he does. And please remember, he has good for everybody. His intention is that you become a better human being. But beyond a point, he is not going to correct others. This is something my Guruji will always say. I will only correct those who I want them to be like me. It's very clear. I am not correcting the other people. I am not even teaching them. I don't want to correct, because if people have ego and arrogance and think that they should not be taught or told them in certain way, they always want to be mollycoddled, or you have to be very sweet. This concept of sweet talk is how people expect, but a master is never sweet. Sweet in the sense, if he praises you, you are never going to succeed in your life. On the contrary, you will fail, you will fall down. Whatever you think you have achieved, in the next go, you will all lose that. So my Guruji will never praise. Like I said, he will only say, if you ask him, if you cook something and offer it to him, you'll ask him, how is the dish? He'll just say, okay. That's the ultimate. You need to just be very happy that he said okay. He didn't give you a peace of mind saying it's bad or not good, or you don't know how to cook. At least he said okay. But the good or, oh wow, it's great, you can never hear from his mouth. He's never going to praise you. On the contrary, he will say you could do better. That's how he is. What does that tell you? That tells you that he cares about you. He wants you to outperform yourself every single time you make something. You can make it better. You can enhance it. You can try some new, you can come up with your own ways. You can use your ability, your creativity to add some flavors to it, which is unique, and you can come up with your own version of it. So that is why we are here to become the best version of ourselves. We are not here to become somebody else. I'm not here to become Bill Gates, I'm here to become my Krishna Guruji. My Krishna Guruji will replicate himself in me. People can see him in me. That is what the Guru does. He's creating himself in me. They say, I reflect my Guruji. What does that tell you? That tells you that the Guru is the Parasmani. Anything that touches, it turns into gold. What does that tell? Gold in the sense it's not another metal. He turns you into the himself, the Parasmani himself. But only the chosen one. He's not going to do that with everybody. You know why? Because you need to be ready to learn with him in that capacity. And any story you take a beautiful movie, which I really love. It's called Kill Bill. And in that lesson, the student goes to the teacher, and the teacher puts you through the most difficult lessons, lot of tough lessons. And in that lesson, the teacher is bending you backwards. And at that time, the disciple doesn't give up. And so the teacher at the end of it teaches her the most powerful technique, which is a secret, which he will only reveal to that one alone, that chosen one. So the Guru will always test your deservability into imparting that knowledge. Please remember, knowledge is not there for everybody. He's not giving you the knowledge, that so that you can do whatever you feel like. First, you have to become deserving. The deservability is what is being tested constantly. And once he knows you're deserving, and then he imparts that knowledge. And every great master had one great disciple, and they always ensured they, anointed one disciple who would represent the master or carry forward the legacy. And it is not for the world to accept or not accept. The world is nobody to accept or not accept, right? It is the divine Lord who chooses this individual, because they have proved themselves worthy. So if you look at any story about the great masters, the way how they teach is very unique. It is very, very powerful. So here also, the Lord is telling, first, we need to overcome all these desires. But for that, you need to get that knowledge. The Lord is going to put you through the test. He's going to make you go through the journey. And once you have overcome the pairs of opposites, I like this, I don't like this, I hate, I love, all that, and then the desires. The desire that, I need to get this, I didn't get this. We are always comparing, we're unhappy, we're always thinking that, God has been unkind. All those things you have to overcome. And till the time you don't overcome, you're going to be suffering. Suffering in what? You're not going to be able to perform the selfless action. That is always going to be a challenge. You will know. And then what happens? Then you can't become a renunciant. Here, to become a renunciant, you first, he's defining who is this karma yogi, who's a renunciant. Who is he? He who neither hates nor desires should ever be considered. We should ever consider him as an ever renunciant. For Arjuna, he who is free from the pairs of opposites is easily liberated from bondage. Wow, that's very powerful. Do you see, liberation is right at the palm of your hand. But why is that you don't attain it? Why can't you get it? Do you know this? Why? Because we constantly are hating, or we like loving somebody, we like, we dislike. The pairs of opposites keeps us away from attaining this liberation, which is so easy to attain. It is right in the palm of our hand. My Guruji will always say this. It is just this, you're this much short of it. How many years I've been listening to this? Many years. And I've just given it up. Because every single time he's just going to keep saying this to me. And one day I asked him, when do you think you're going to give me this? Every single time you keep telling me this. It's out of frustration. But then I don't have to ask even that, because that is also desire, right? I don't even have to. If whenever things has to happen, it will happen. Why am I bothered? I just have to perform my job. Which, if I get attached saying, oh look, you told me that I'm very short of getting enlightened or liberated, and here I am, of so many years I'm learning under you. I have not got anything. What is this? That is a desire. Who am I even to ask that? My job is to do alone and not bother about the fruit of the action. Isn't even spirituality the highest goal? The fruit is liberation or getting enlightened or knowing myself. That is a fruit. If I get attached to that, then am I not falling off the path? Of course, yes. So Lord Shri Krishna here is teaching that you can't get attached to anything. And here, most important, you have to attain what? We learned in chapter 2 itself. Chapter 3 also we have done so much. It is about strive to practice the yoga of equanimity. Till the time you don't have the equanimity of mind, you can't achieve the yoga of action. So what is he saying here? For Arjuna, he who is free from the pairs of opposites is easily liberated from bondage. What are you liberated from? Bondage. Everything we are bound with, right? Father, mother, husband, sister, wife, children, you name it, friends, relatives, everybody, acquaintance, your colleagues, you name it, the whole world we are attached. We have been bound by them. And today, what is the best way to overcome this? Just, overcome the pairs of opposite. Strive to practice the yoga of equanimity. Till the time you don't practice this, you can't achieve anything. Unfortunately, you're going to be lost in that world itself. You're going to suffer very badly. So practice that. And once you practice, you will be able to achieve. What you will achieve? freedom from bondage. You know how beautiful is that freedom? Because you're not bothered, you're not going to be attached, you're not going to be disturbed, your mind is not going to get irritated at all. It's not going to be turbulent. Even when you see that object which is going to either create attraction or repulsion, you will not feel anything. What will you feel? Samabhav, equanimity of mind. And you'll have that calmness and composure. Which is very, very important. What is the use in trying to get irritated with somebody? You know, why should an object disturb your mind? Let me tell you, who the hell they are? They're petty, crass human beings and some objects which is going to disturb you. Why are you bothered? Who cares? You think that insignificant being saying something or doesn't say something matters to us in life? If you give importance, then it becomes significant. When you don't give importance, those becomes insignificant. So why should the insignificant things affect us? Is a question that we all have to ask ourselves. So why are we giving it so much importance? My Guruji will always say this, why are you giving it so much importance? Why should somebody say something or not say something, or somebody saying something, insulting you, and then you expect a sorry? Why should you do that? Who has this expectation? Is it mind? And what is that one which is hurt? Ego. It's called ego. When you have ego, you can't evolve on the path of spirituality, and that is why we are not able to perform selfless action, because we are always motivated. With every action we are expecting something, so we are highly motivated. So where is the question of performing selfless action? We are not. So let us not get into this ego business. We have to give up the ego. Our goal has to be to serve the higher purpose. Our goal has to be to focus in our world, to do our swadharma, for that which we have taken this human birth. And most important, through our karma yoga, we can attain supreme bliss. See, Lord has already said this. There are two paths. One is the path of knowledge and one is the path of action. And action is easier, he's saying, because we can't sit quiet, right? You'll get bored. Many a time I'll tell my Guruji, God, I'm tired of working in the corporates. I don't want this job. And for some time you want to be, free. Yeah, you'll get a break. And after that, I don't know what I'm doing. I want to get back to work. That yo-yo happens. But those who are, already freed from their, action, the work and everything, they just do what comes to them naturally. Like my Krishna Guruji. His job is to teach, and he's the best teacher on this entire planet Earth. There is no greater guru than him. He's the supreme master. He's the param guru. There is none other than him in this world who can teach the way he teaches. But it's very difficult to learn from him, because our ego will come, and you will say, God, look at him. How is he treating me? How is he saying things? Actually, no. He's talking to your mind. He wants to destroy your ego. The guru's wish and the guru's job is to destroy your ego, because with ego you can't achieve that realization, which is called God realization or self-realization. And ego will be the root cause for your downfall also. With ego comes too much arrogance, pride, haughtiness. We should not have all that. We have to have humbleness. We have to show our humility, and we have to be ever submissive. And when we are submissive, and that's when the knowledge will come, the right knowledge will come. So what happens to the karma yogi? He who is free from the pairs of opposites is easily liberated from bondage. So once he is free from the pairs of opposites, he will attain liberation from bondage. Bondage towards everything in this world. So let us continue. It is the ignorant, not the wise, who say that Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga lead to divergent results. For one who is firmly established in either gets the fruit of both, which is the same, with God realization. Absolutely right. What is he saying? He's saying it is the ignorant. He's the ignorant people, not the wise, who say that Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga lead to divergent results. It is not two different results. If you follow the path of Sankhya Yoga, doesn't mean you're going to get something different than if you follow the path of Karma Yoga. So who are the people who believe that is how it is? They are the ignorant, people who have no knowledge. So what are we beginning with? We all begin with the knowledge, right? The right knowledge. So if till you don't have the right knowledge, you're going to talk utter nonsense. And here what is he saying? He's not saying the wise men said it. He said the ignorant people believe it. But what is the Lord saying? For one who is firmly established in either, whether you are firmly established in Karma Yoga or Sankhya Yoga, both gets the fruit, which is the same. Both of them get the same fruit, which is called God realization. Whether you follow the path of Sankhya Yoga or you follow the path of Karma Yoga, both will lead to one alone, that one goal alone. And what is that? God realization. So where is the question of, we achieving something different? But the ignorant people, having no knowledge, they kind of talk dime a dozen nonsense. Their interpretations are wrong. In this world, people are so ignorant. We met recently somebody had come to visit my Guruji. And this person was trying to talk how he's doing something, he believes in Shastras, he believes in astrology. And when I gave him an idea, the person doesn't even allow you to speak. You know why? Because they think they know too much. It's the ego of knowledge. And what knowledge? Ignorant. It's all covered with ignorant. They think they know the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge. They're ignorant being, and they come and challenge the divine master. They come and open their big mouth trying to say, oh, look, I know this, I know that, and I'm like this. Then when my Guruji explained, obviously the person cannot open the mouth, because what he says is the truth. It is gospel truth. Every word from my Guruji's mouth is gospel truth. He's talking the truth. And one thing that I told this person, please remember, only God can teach you who God is, not anybody else. That is why the divine Lord manifests, and that is why we say Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma. The Parabrahma manifests in the form of a Guru. For what reason? To come and teach, to impart the most profound and esoteric truth. It's the most esoteric knowledge of all knowledge. And then what does he teach in that? He is giving an idea about what the truth is. Today my Guruji said, look, I only care about the one person in this world to impart this real knowledge. I'm not going to teach everybody, because they're all covered with ignorance and they think they know too much. All I will teach them is the way of life. And I have already given satsangs. My Guruji has more than some 5,000 videos, and he has done all scriptures is recorded. And it is there. For those real seekers, they really want to learn, they can go and listen to the satsang. And then out of that, maybe that one will come seeking. That's why we say seeker. So if you're a seeker, first you need to go with an open mind to learn. But that doesn't exist. We always go with our own ideas about life, our own thinking that, oh yeah, I go to all temples, I am privileged, I go here, go there, I do this, doesn't mean a damn thing. You're wandering all over the world. Who are you? Lord Sri Krishna is very clearly saying, you are an ignorant who believe that Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga lead to divergent results. That is your way of looking at life. Why? Because you don't even have any knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita cannot be taught by ordinary human being. Only Lord Sri Krishna can teach Bhagavad Gita. Nobody else. Forget about Bhagavad Gita, whether it is Uddhav Gita or any scripture, only the Lord can teach. Lord Sri Krishna alone can teach. That is why he manifests time and again to come and impart the knowledge, to tell what God is all about, to tell the world what is truth all about. But are you all worthy? Is there anybody worthy in this life? That is exactly what my Guruji will ask. Please remember. Yeah, you might say, who are you to come and teach us, right? No, I am not teaching. This body is just a vehicle. It's an instrument. The words are of my Krishna Guruji's wisdom. The knowledge flows from the divine. It's a supreme knowledge. This knowledge can never be learnt or by-hearted, or you can, rattle off. When I open the scripture, when I read the verse, the words flow from my mouth. Many months back, before my Guruji asked me to start teaching Bhagavad Gita, I was doing Sai Satcharitra. And then when he just said, you teach Bhagavad Gita, I was very excited. Oh God, my most favorite scripture. I got to, impart this knowledge, but I don't know. Yeah, I have studied Bhagavad Gita. Studied in the sense I have learned under the tutelage of my master. My Krishna Guruji has given me this knowledge. He has taught me Bhagavad Gita. But that doesn't mean a damn thing. Yeah, because he just learned. Not that I document everything that I've learned from him. I write down that which I think is relevant. And we are all lazy people. We don't go back and read our lessons. Jokes apart. But coming back, I found it, oh wow, it's how can I teach Bhagavad Gita, sort of, It is one side I was very excited, on the other side I was a little worried. And so I started going and listening to my Guruji's satsang. I just wanted to make sure that I'm going to teach the right things, But what I failed to understand at that moment, who is this Hai who's going to teach? I am going to teach. I cannot teach. I has no knowledge. And so I started listening to my Guruji's satsang. And then one day my Guruji said, you don't have to listen to any satsang. Please know that when you will be able to teach, you will be able to impart the knowledge. The words will flow, the knowledge will flow through you. You have all the knowledge I have bestowed upon you. These were my Guruji's words. I was little in tears. And then since that day onwards, I am not going back to listening to his satsangs. But I know my Guruji uses this body. The words are of his wisdom and he teaches this knowledge through me. He gives the expositions through this body. I am only a chosen one. That is all. And since then, when I open, there is no explanation. It's just a basic text. The Gita Press, the Bhagavad Gita is a basic text. There's no explanation under this. So whatever the words are of his divine wisdom. That which has to flow from my mouth will come. And I get to learn a lot of things through that. Even I am learning in the journey, let me tell you. Some of the knowledge, I'm like, wow, I didn't know this. This is how it is. It's a very profound way. It's a profound truth and a beautiful way to learn. Learning happens in different capacity. And there is no end to learning at all. Please remember. And we have to just have our humility and humbleness to learn. And learning can never happen in the way you think you want to learn. And this is one thing that my Guruji has always taught. You have to become a clay in the hands of the Guru. And his method, his way of teaching is very, very, very different and powerful. Please remember that. So here he's telling, whatever the path might be, whether it is Sankhya Yoga or Karma Yoga, both leads to one goal alone, and that is called God realization. And these ignorant beings try to teach you something that which is not the truth. Why? Because they are ignorant. And the world follows these ignorant beings with a half-baked knowledge. And what happens when you don't have the right knowledge? You're never going to attain that highest goal in your life. So don't go off the path. Don't go away that path. It is very difficult to follow the path in the most beautiful manner and seek, like in one of the verses in the last chapter, Lord Sri Krishna said, you have to go to the wise, render service to them and with humility and humbleness and be submissive, with, praise them and then ask them the question. They will guide you in the knowledge of this truth. That is what he said. So what does he mean by that? The Guru is the doorway to God. Without Guru, you can't attain God realization. And the Guru is the one who's going to instruct you on that path. Whether you follow the path of Sankhya Yoga, whether you follow the path of Karma Yoga, at the end of the day, the Guru is the one who's going to teach you that knowledge, using which you will be able to attain the God realization while performing all your duties. Whether if you're in the material world and you have to do certain duties, you will perform the duties as per the dharma and using that right knowledge. So Sankhya Yoga is also something that you have already learned, right? You have already applying, because without knowledge you can't perform an action. So knowledge is very important, and having the right knowledge, you're going on the path. Using the right tools and the right direction is what is being shown to you. So what does the Lord do? He directs you, He guides you. He's your indweller, He's your charioteer. He's the one who's showing you the direction, how to go, and how to maneuver that path. Using the right tools. Isn't He imparting that knowledge? This is exactly what the Lord does. So please remember, whether you follow the path of karma or follow the path of Sankhya, both, and both leads to one alone. But what should you do to lead that one, that is God realization? You have to be firmly established in either, and then you will get the fruit of both, which is the same, which is called God realization. I hope you understood this verse. Let us continue the next. The supreme state, which is reached by the Sankhya Yogi, is attained also by the Karma Yogi. Isn't what we are discussing? See, whether you have the knowledge, without the knowledge, you can't perform the karma. And once you perform the karma, what is it you attain? Both, whether it is through knowledge and through karma, you attain that one goal, which is called God realization. Therefore, he alone who sees Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga as identical, so far as the result goes, sees truly. I've already explained this. It's very beautiful. What is he saying? See, ultimately, whether it is through Sankhya or Karma, it's both are identical alone. See, because without knowledge, you can't perform the right action. So, right knowledge is extremely important. So, Sankhya Yoga also is equally important. See, we say jnanis, they only decipher God. They have the jnana. But the knowledge, doesn't help you alone to attain that. But yes, through knowledge also you can attain, knowledge is also a path through which you attain God realization. But having the knowledge, you also have to perform your duties. This Karma Yoga. So both are identical. Having the right knowledge, you perform the right action. The right action which leads you to God realization is following the righteous path. That is your dharma. Okay. Now he's saying the supreme state which is reached by Sankhya Yogi is also attained by, is attained also by Karma Yogi. Therefore, he alone who sees Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga as identical so far as their result goes, sees truly. He's the one who sees truly means he understands the truth. He's not an ignorant being. He's a wise. But to become wise, it all begins with knowledge. Then you have to do your karma. That's exactly what we have been learning. But this Arjuna doesn't seem to understand. What do we do with Arjuna? He's still asking Lord Shri Krishna the question. What does he begin with? Krishna, please tell me. You've given explanation about the Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. Tell me now what is good for me. You, Arjuna, I'm sorry to say this word, Lord Shri Krishna himself said, you're a stupid person to ask this question because I have imparted this knowledge to you. What is the knowledge? The knowledge about the truth. Second, using that knowledge, I've told you how you have to perform your duty, which is to lift your bow and arrow and shoot, fight the war, Arjuna. And here Arjuna is telling, now you tell me which one is right for me. Hello, you don't have a choice. Arjuna, you have to fight. What does the Lord say? Arjuna, born of your Kshatriya Dharma, you have to fight. You cannot say that I am not going to fight. And just Arjuna still is asking this is a stupid question and Lord Shri Krishna is still trying to answer to him. This Bhagavad Gita did not have happened at all. Chapter 2 itself, Lord Shri Krishna had given him all the knowledge. Had he just listened to him and understood him, he just had to lift his bow and arrow and shoot, fight the war. Here, no, Arjuna has to still insist to the Lord. He still has his doubts. He's still asking the same questions in different ways. So what is the Lord saying? Imagine how much patience Lord Shri Krishna has. And still he gives him explanations in different ways. The same thing is teaching. There is no difference at all. Can you imagine? You and me are that Arjuna. We have to do our duties. And yet, why don't we understand? And what is stopping us? Mind, ego, arrogance, thinking that we know too much, or sometimes we think, why should I, listen to somebody? Please listen. Knowledge comes in different ways. The Guru's job is to impart that knowledge. Lord can use anybody as a tool to give you that knowledge. But you think that, this person, I don't see God in this person. Okay, this is my Guru, but this is not somebody who I accept as. But who are you to even decide somebody you will accept or not? It is none of your business. You think you are going against the divine Lord? Who the hell you think you are? You're nobody. Please remember. So don't use your ego, arrogance. No knowledge will enter you. I was telling somebody, one very beautiful lesson which my Guruji taught. If you ever have to learn, learn with that humility. Learn to say, I don't know. If you don't know, acknowledge it. There is no harm. You're not going to become small. On the contrary, then the other person will give you that knowledge. And don't expect that the knowledge has to be given in the way you want it. It's never going to happen. And if you insist in that capacity, please remember, nobody will teach you in this world. Then they will shut their mouth. They don't want to even give you that knowledge. So for getting the knowledge and learning from the people, you have to always be humble. You have to learn in a very beautiful manner. Till the time you don't do this, that knowledge will never come to you and people will stop teaching you. Even when you make mistakes, nobody is going to correct you. Please remember. So the art of learning itself is a beautiful thing. To get the right knowledge, you first need to be humble. You have to render service. You have to show respect. You have to venerate and you have to go with that devotion. You have to praise them and then the knowledge will open up. So here, please remember, no matter what Lord Shri Krishna is telling, Arjuna is still not able to understand. He is living in his own world. He thinks what he's asking, he's upset, he's angry, he doesn't want to fight, and still is trying to figure out. What is he trying to do? Figuring out. I'm trying to figure out. There's no figuring out there. It's very simple. Lord has said, just lift your bow and arrow and shoot. Fight the war. That is all it is. But this simple thing, a human being cannot do. Why? Because they live in their mind and ego and arrogance. And please remember, forget about, attaining God realization is a far away thing. You can't even attain, to becoming a good human being. You can't even get that little knowledge. You will also become like a crass human being, coming out of some gutter. That is exactly what you will become. So the choice is with you. Make the choice, and at the end of the day, it's your life. If you don't do, like Lord Shri Krishna will tell in the 18th chapter to Arjuna, my nature will make you perforce perform the same action, born of your own inherent nature, and born of that karma. You will still do that. And then what happens? As the mounted on a machine. Means you will not even realize that you're doing. You will still end up doing the same thing. But then what happens? Then you will incur sin, karma. Why do you want to get to that level? Do it now. And please remember, one most important thing in this, what is that he's saying? One who have given up the pairs of opposites and desires. Desire is going to be the root cause of all evil. Give up all the Shadripus, anger, hatred, desire, lust, greed, all the tamasic nature, tendencies. Trying to think and talk badly, disrespect authorities. One of the most important lesson he said, till you don't respect authorities, no knowledge come. You are nobody to judge another person. Lord Shri Krishna talks about all the goodness, and more is going to come. We're going to learn a very beautiful lesson, how to live in this world. The way of life is not such an easy thing. And that is what my Krishna Guruji is going to impart to this world. Teach the way of life. How to be a better human being, how to understand the truth about life, get the real knowledge, so that we become, we also live, in the righteous manner in this world. So with this, we will stop here, and we will continue from verse 6 onwards in our next satsang. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara, Om Shri Krishna Guru Nathanataya Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu, Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum.